Welcome to another episode of the Doctors Building Wealth podcast. Today we have the honor of having Dr. Narav Shah with us. He is a guest we had back in August of 2023 with us. So if you want to hear his whole entrepreneurial doctor journey, you definitely want to listen to that. Today we're going to be talking about the Prosperity Conference, which is a conference that we are co-hosting with his group over at the Physician on Fire. And we wanted to share some of the reasons that this is such a special conference, and you guys want to join us in Las Vegas in March of 2025. So welcome, Narav.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun to have you here again. So just for everyone who doesn't know you, can you just give them a quick background on what you've done as both a physician and an entrepreneur?
Yeah, happy to. So I'm a neurologist by training and stroke. Leti, you and I met many years ago in Seattle, where we took care of patients together. And then I left to go build a tech company. And then after that, it got acquired, and I took over Physician on Fire that Leaf had started with Jorge, my co-founder. And here we are, just a year and a half later, planning our first conference together with you.
Yeah, which is incredibly exciting. So some of you guys, if you haven't heard about our conference, what it's called is a prosperity conference. So I wanted to start out talking about what does prosperity mean? Maybe Narav, can you start out with us?
Yeah, sure. I think this goes back to when we were thinking about partnering to take over Physician on Fire, and when we first met at another conference. In basically for I think all of us, prosperity is not just about money. Money's not wealth. Income's not wealth. Prosperity is a mindset. It's about health. It's about relationships, community, and of course, money is part of that. And so I think as we've been talking over the past year and a half, we thought it made sense to have something that was unique and positioned differently than just, let's say, FIRE, financial independence, to retire early, or just retiring as, partially, as you guys have called it, to this sort of new framing that's more holistic.
Yeah. Yeah. The, subtitle to Prosperity Conference is Health, Wealth, and Relationships. And we chose this because really, when you think about it, a lot of people think prosperity is just money. But as you mentioned, there are other components, and the relationships piece, right? The relationship with your partner, with your spouse, the relationship you have with your business partners, the relationships you have with your team members, if you're investing in real estate or if you're building a business. Those create so much of the beauty or the a hurt or suffering in your life. And so those are so key, as well as your health and how you feel. Your vitality also plays such a role in the quality of your life.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up how people talk about, we have many dreams, right? But if you're sick, if you don't have your health, you just have one dream, which is to get better, right? And so health is absolutely essential to having a prosperous life. And so uh, health absolutely has to be a major component of this.
Yeah, and I also
Exactly.
just reflecting back, when I think about the life that I hope for us and for everyone in our shared communities, it's a life of prosperity, of fulfillment, right? Because you can have all the money in the world and still be unhappy and not have your health or not have those relationships that make such a difference. And I know you've seen that a lot, Narav, with all of your contacts in the tech space and really successful entrepreneurs who you know. So maybe could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, as we were just talking before, even today, just minutes ago, I got a message in another group I'm part of where a tech founder had exited her company, and she's thinking about starting the next thing. But she's not that motivated by money now, and so she's not sure what she should do. And so, does she start a company just to start it, or does she do something else? And I think for us as physicians, we have that grounding typically with patient care. But even as we think about planning for retirement, the stress of dealing with insurance and hospitals and fighting with various kind of administrative components of the care we deliver in corporate medicine. Um, this is kind of the other side of the coin, that it's important to think about what grounds us, whether it's full-time medicine work, being semi-retired, or even fully retired. It's important to have a sense of community relationships, so that we are healthy and we're not burned out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, One of the things that I think is going to set this conference apart from a lot of the conferences out there is we're bringing in some really different speakers, speakers that who aren't necessarily just physicians, but have gone on to build successful entrepreneurial businesses. We're definitely going to have a real estate component, but a lot of what we're going to be talking about is entrepreneurship. And I know that a lot of the people you're going to be bringing in are really different, not people that a lot of our audience will have been exposed to before. So can you talk to, how we chose our speakers and how we've thought through who we want to bring into the conference?
Yeah. This is going to be one of the more exciting, I think, parts of the conference because many of the conferences we've all been to are typical in the sense that the content might be more straightforward or down the middle, as I'd say, which is important. It's this bread butter content around retiring, tax savings, your 401k. Our goal for this is to bring people who've been really successful in healthcare. These are all going to be people who've touched healthcare in some way or who care about healthcare in some way. Um, and ideally, these people are going to be really inspirational. They're going to show us some actionable things that, help them on their journey, but things that could help other people on theirs. So a big part of it for us is to be pretty inspirational and have these stellar people come teach us what's worked for them in their own journey and hopefully ours.
Yeah, and I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit more and expand on it, which is that, we've seen all these different presentations about 401ks and retirement and index funds and, more the traditional ways of investing. And, at the end of the day, I think we all realize, being entrepreneurs and also real estate investors, actually, that there are better ways to build wealth, right, than just to have them sit in index funds. And in fact, if you really want to significantly grow your wealth, I think collectively we believe that really there are just a few ways that you can do that. One is real estate, but the other is being an entrepreneur and building a business. I think those are two of the best ways to really build wealth. And that's the reason why we wanted to really introduce this, because we know that a lot of physicians that we talk to, they want more than just a comfortable retirement. They want to build wealth. They want to build a legacy for their family. And for those people, we really wanted to provide a conference, a place that they can come and like you said, be inspired.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is going to bridge what I've seen as you're talking about, Letty, from the tech kind of world where there are these big tech conferences with venture capital on one extreme, and then we've got this other extreme with people doing the passive income, car wash, laundromat, real estate type businesses. And hopefully we're going to blend the two and have people who've come from that world, whether it's VCs, people who are on the boards of companies that are physicians, join us and really just be part of a new community we bring together.
Yeah, so when I think through, who's the type of person who should be at this conference, it is somebody who's maybe interested in entrepreneurship or maybe even never considered it, but doesn't even know where to start, right? And wants to be inspired, wants to see what's possible and what other physicians and high income earners have done in this space and how they've gone from having nothing and building, really significant businesses and get some inspiration, but also education of how to do that. I think people who are physicians who maybe are feeling a little bit burned out and are feeling like, is this it? Is there more to life? Am I just going to stay on the same path and put money in my 401k, which we call money jail, for the rest of our lives? And someday we're going to comfortably retire. I really want more. I'm hungry for more out of my life. I want to, push myself, challenge myself, grow as a human being, and see what else is out there, whether it's real estate or it's entrepreneurship. I think that those are the types of people who definitely, maybe don't have any experience, but are ready to start, are going to want to come. And then there are going to be people who have some experience. We have a lot of people in our community who have bought some rental properties, who are starting to build their first business. Maybe they want to get some skills and talk to others doing this. They want to get some skills from other entrepreneurs that they can apply into their business. I was just at Tony Robbins' Business Mastery, and we had a really incredible marketer, Jay Abraham, come in. And one of the things he said massive wealth is when you take something that's done in one business area and you apply it to a totally different area of business. So the ballpoint pen is a common example he uses, came from roll-on deodorant, right? So that kind of idea that goes across different business types are the types of ideas that you can get from seeing what else has been done. And then those who are experienced entrepreneurs, maybe you've built a business, maybe you've sold it, maybe you're still seeking prosperity, maybe you're still seeking fulfillment. You have the money, like you're mentioning, but what you're missing is relationships. relationships, or maybe you're missing community or health. This is a place to come to be in a peer group of people who do want more, who are challenging themselves and growing, and who want to be able to find people like them to set that high standard and maybe even build something together, which I think is one of the most powerful things that will come out of this. Is people will find their people, and I imagine there's going to be businesses built out of people meeting up.
I think that'd be the dream. I mean, as I've been to some of these conferences that we've all been to and met at, I think that many physicians are hungry to find a like-minded set of people to work with and partner with, keep each other accountable and build something with.
Yeah, and I wanted to expand some more on what you were saying about, this is not just about entrepreneurship, right? It's all about, there are a number of people actually who are already doing some really cool things, but I think one of the things that we see is missing is that they're not feeling prosperous. They may not be feeling fulfilled, right? Even though maybe they do have money, or maybe they're on their way to building that, but they're so head in the sand, kind of focus, working really hard, building this business, building a rental portfolio, whatever it is, but not feeling that fulfillment. And that's also a big part of this, is that we want to make sure that you are today feeling that fulfillment, feeling prosperous along the journey, right? And again, it's not about this destination of having, the huge amounts of wealth, because if you're not feeling that fulfillment and if you're not feeling prosperous now, you're not going to feel fulfillment and prosperous when you have $20 million in the bank, right? And that's the reason why, I think this is such an important conference for people who are feeling that way.
Absolutely. I was just reading Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. And one of the things in there is so many of us are focused either on the past or living in the future that we miss out on the beauty and the presence of being in the now. And those kind of skills that, hearing from people who are super successful, who have, 50 million or 100 million in net worth, and who can come in and say, hey, yeah, I did this with wealth, but I still needed those other pieces to really feel fulfilled. I think that's really a beautiful thing to be able to hear from people who are very far ahead of you in your journey, but can reflect on what does prosperity mean and how do you actually get prosperity, not just money.
So let's give our audience a little bit of a sneak peek of some of the topics and speakers we'll be hearing from. So Narav, can you talk about some of the topics and speakers that really excite you?
Yeah. So we are going to bring together people, like I mentioned, from VC to host a panel, mainly because physicians don't know about VC. We talk about PE and kind of the evil PE buying practices, but VC is quite a bit different and much more aspirational. We'll have ideally at least a few physician CEOs, which I think is really important to have, that are VC backed, that come and talk about their experiences, how they built companies, whether it's in recruiting for healthcare or another part of healthcare. And then we'll also have some people who kind of built and exited companies alongside their partner. One speaker I'm trying to recruit and convince to come join us is she built a practice with her husband. She's a former banker. And so she'd be the perfect person to kind of talk about how she managed a relationship. And she'd be great to have as part of one of the panels we intend to build. What about
Yeah.
you guys? Who are the types of speakers that you're excited about?
I'm particularly excited. Actually, we're going to have Dan Martell come, and he wrote an amazing book called Buy Back Your Time. And what I'm excited about is I think that allows people to think differently about their time, which is the most precious resource that you have. And so he teaches you how to calculate your cost per hour and to really think differently about hiring and kind of managing your schedule. So I'm very excited about him. I'm excited about, we have somebody to come talk about taxes, about real estate taxes and entrepreneurship and how to maximize your tax efficiency. So I always get super excited about taxes along the way. And then we have some really thoughtful people who are going to come in and talk about partnerships and how to structure them, and just the brilliant minds that we're going to bring in. And a lot of them are our friends, which I think makes this very special too, is to be able to access these people that you, Narav, have met along the way, the last 5 years, who you personally have built relationships with, and you've seen what they've done, and they're able to deliver with that real care because they know you and they feel strongly for our community. And I'm really excited about how many of these speakers are actually personal friends of ours and you guys, and who will be able to deliver at a different level because of it.
Yeah, definitely. And they're excited too, by the way, especially the physician leaders who are building companies or on boards of let's say an insurance company or a VC firm, or what have you, they also want to give back, and they're pretty excited to be in a unique setting that's physician first, as opposed to what they're used to, which, in tech world, it's like JP Morgan or HLTH or Vive, and we're going to bridge that gap with this. So it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I think physicians and high income earners, they make phenomenal entrepreneurs. So I want to make sure we highlight that before we end is that, you may not think that this is in your nature. Maybe you've never started a business before. I know, for example, when I met Kenji, I had never started a business. I knew nothing about it, but it actually is in your nature to be a phenomenal entrepreneur because you know how to mitigate risk, right? You know how to look at multiple scenarios and be able to see the risk and to choose the best one. You know how to make decisions,
Mhm.
which is one of the things that holds back a lot of entrepreneurs. They get stuck in analysis paralysis. They don't make decisions. And when you don't make a decision, you don't move forward and you don't get, you don't build what you want to build. They know how to set goals and to achieve them. If you went through med school or you went through professional school, you had a vision of what was possible for you. You set that goal and you took all the necessary steps and you were diligent and you were disciplined to be able to get through them, get through those challenges to be able to do that. And then you know how to work in teams, right? In the hospital, we work in teams. People have different skill sets. So I think physicians, high income earners are so well positioned to be entrepreneurs. And I hope that's one of the main takeaways that people get when they come to this conference. Of course, they'll get community. Of course, they're going to get tools and strategies to be able to do it, but just a real sense of the identity that they can be absolutely a very successful entrepreneur. And actually, they're built to be able to be one.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there are very few people who know how to triage, work in complicated situations. Sometimes, we're partnering on a situation, and sometimes someone else needs to lead, and one of us needs to step back. And so those are the complicated skill sets that we developed in all our training.
So before we close, let's ask this one question. I wanna capture in one word, what is the top reason somebody should attend the conference? So Narav, what do you think?
Well, for me, it's going to be aspiration, right? I think a lot has been lost as physicians feel like they're struggling. We were just talking about this email earlier today that I got from an early career nephrologist who just says, I have no idea how to do this. And so hopefully this nephrologist will see this, we'll send them the podcast. I'll personally make sure that happens. And they'll feel inspired, that it's not such a big mountain that they have to climb with all the problems in corporate healthcare, fee schedules, reducing this, that, the other thing.
Yeah, I love that word aspiration. And when I coach people, this is something that I talk a lot about. Tony Robbins talks about you need to have a compelling future, right? You need to know where you're going. You need to, in order to have it, if you're going to go anywhere, right? You put in your GPS where are you starting from and where are you going, right? So you have to know where you're going. And I think one of the things that, when you're planning where you're going, that aspiration, you want to have those kind of big goals, right? And out of that comes a lot of challenge, a lot of trials and tribulations. But some people view that as negative. We view that as a very, very big positive, right? When you go through difficult things, that's what builds that confidence. That's what gives you that fulfillment when you're growing, when you're pushing yourself. And so that aspiration, kind of knowing where you're going, and I think this conference will deliver on that. It will really help you see what others have gone out and aspired to do and then have gone out and done it. And that's exactly what, we hope that everybody who attends the conference, they walk out of there with that same aspiration. Okay, this is where I'm going. This is my true north. Once you know that, everything else falls in place. You know exactly what you need to do next in order to take steps in that direction. So I love that word.
Now, I know you have one for us, but I want to also throw in identity because that one is one I want people
Mhm.
to also hear is we have a certain identity right now of who we think we are. I want people to expand their identities by coming to this conference to see all the possibilities
Mhm.
out there for them and to actually step into the identity of a business owner, an entrepreneur, a real estate investor, whatever it is, but expand beyond what you think is possible for you right now. And once you step into an identity, you actually will do a lot to continue that identity. And so you will actually step up in a different way if you take on a new identity. So for me, this is about expanding your identity.
Yeah. So for me, my word would be community. And this is actually our second annual prosperity conference. So we held our first prosperity conference in Puerto Rico, and just getting people together, right? There's so much value in getting people together, and the results speak for themselves. When we were speaking to some of the people who attended, that was for them the highlight, just getting to spend time with other like-minded people. And I just wanted to really emphasize the importance of community for those of you guys who are listening, saying like, yeah, I'd like some, but is it really that important? It's absolutely essential, I think. And it's even tied to longevity, right? When you have community. And one of the things that we also see is that as we get older, we start to lose community, right? It's I think a lot of people say it's harder to make friends, but I think for us and for Narav, we're constantly surrounded, and we're surrounding ourselves with community. In fact, our networks are expanding daily, right? Where other people our age, their communities are shrinking, right? They're hanging out with less and less people, less diverse people. Well, this is your chance to change that, right? This is your chance to go out and surround yourself with like-minded people and get really inspired with all the different ideas that are going to be thrown around. This is your opportunity, and we really encourage you guys to take advantage of it, because if you want a new identity, if you want to have that aspirational goal, right, this is the place to do it.
Yeah, our mutual goal is to help all of our community build lives they love. And that will look different for different people. But when you start out with that idea that you could actually build a life of your dreams, a life that you actually love, not be stuck where you are, doing the same thing every single day and feeling like you don't have autonomy and that somebody else is calling all the shots, that you do not have to do for the rest of your life. You can build a life that you're absolutely passionate about and love and have that prosperity. And so if you want to learn how to do that, if you want to be in the space where you have the community to be able to help hold you to that higher standard and to be able to inspire you and show you how it's possible, and to have the speakers who can inspire you by showing you what they've done, but also give you the tools and skill sets to be able to follow in their footsteps. This is absolutely where you want to be with us and with Narav and all the Physician on Fire group at the Prosperity Conference in March 6th through 8th in 2025 in Las Vegas. You want to pick up your tickets now. We have some VIP tickets, and then we also have our early bird pricing ending very, very soon. So you want to make sure you jump in and grab those now. And we're really excited on behalf of semi-retired MD and Physician on Fire community. We're so excited to get to meet all of you guys and to watch you guys transform. That is really the most beautiful thing that we get to witness, is people going from wherever they are now to being empowered and transforming their lives. And you guys absolutely do this all the time. You have the ability to do this. So don't stay where you are. Step into this and step into your empowerment of creating this life you love. Any last words, Narav?
Said it better. No, I'll leave you with the last word. That was great.
Okay, guys, we're going to put the link below. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in just a few months.